In Japan, there is a category of photographic anomaly that has no equivalent in any other country's folklore tradition. Not orbs, not lens flare, not double exposures or processing errors. Something specific, a figure, a shape, a face that appears in a photograph taken by a person who saw nothing when they pressed the shutter, who was alone when they took the picture, who looked at the image afterward and found someone in it that was not there when they looked. Japan has a word for this: Shinrei shashin spirit photographs. The tradition of photographing what cannot be seen is older than digital cameras, older than film, older than photography itself in Japan's spiritual understanding, what the camera sees that the eye does not. In this video, we are counting down 13 Japanese creatures that only appear in photographs, never in real life. Stay with me to the end, because number 1 has been photographed in 47 separate locations across Japan. Always the same, always alone, always looking directly at the camera. So hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and let us begin. In 1979, a series of photographs taken at elementary schools across Gifu Prefecture during routine end-of-year class photographs showed the same anomaly. A figure at the edge of the group, mouth covered by what appeared to be a surgical mask, eyes visible above it, not in any school enrollment record. The photographs were taken at schools with no connection to each other. The figure appeared at the edge of the group in each case. No teacher at any school reported a stranger present during the photography session. The Noperabo, the faceless one, appears in photographs taken in crowds. Multiple accounts from Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto across the 1990s and 2000s document the same specific anomaly. A figure visible in a group photograph whose face, when examined closely, shows no features, no eyes, no mouth, no nose. The head is smooth. The figure is otherwise identical to those around it. Nobody in the group recalls seeing a person whose face they could not see. The Zashiki Warashi, the tatami room child, is a household spirit in the Iwate Prefecture tradition, a child-sized entity associated with old houses and specifically with the tatami rooms of traditional Japanese architecture. The tradition holds that a house with a Zashiki Warashi is a prosperous house, and that the spirit's departure precedes the household's decline. The photographic anomaly associated with the Zashiki Warashi is specific and consistent. In photographs taken inside traditional ryokan and older Japanese houses, particularly in the Tohoku region, a child figure appears in corners, in reflections, in doorways, in locations where no child was present during the photography session. The figure is always small, always in period-appropriate clothing, always positioned in the domestic spaces of the house rather than in the formal spaces. The ryokan in Tohoku that have documented this anomaly most frequently report that the photographs are taken by guests who were alone in their rooms, who heard nothing, who saw nothing, who found a child in the photograph when they looked at their camera afterward. The Tengu, the mountain deity with the elongated nose and the wings of a great bird, is associated in Japanese tradition with specific mountains, particularly those with long histories of ascetic practice and Yamabushi mountain worship. The Tengu is not a benign figure. It is a powerful, proud entity that the Japanese mountain tradition treats with specific ritual deference. The photographic anomaly associated with the Tengu is documented primarily in the Ki Peninsula, in the mountains of Yamagata, and on specific trails of Koyasan. A silhouette winged, disproportionately large, visible in the background of photographs taken on mountain trails in conditions where no large bird was observed. The silhouette is consistent across accounts. The wingspan implied in the silhouette is larger than any bird native to the locations where the photographs were taken. Some appear at distances that make scale estimation possible. The scale does not match anything alive in those mountains. The Funa Yurei. The sea ghosts are the spirits of those who drowned. In Japanese maritime tradition, they appear in the water around boats, their hands reaching upward from the surface, seeking to pull the living down to join them. The specific request they make, in the tradition, is for a ladle, something to scoop water with so that they can fill the boat and sink it. The photographic anomaly associated with the Funa Yurei is documented across Japanese coastal photography. Hands visible beneath the surface of the water in photographs taken from boats and piers, hands that the photographer did not see and that no person in the water could account for. The hands appear in calm water and in rough water. They appear in photographs taken by fishermen, by tourists, by researchers. The water is clear enough in many of the documented photographs to show depth. The hands appear at depths that no swimmer could sustain without equipment. The Yamawaro. The mountain child is a regional variant of the Kappa tradition found primarily in Kumamoto Prefecture and parts of Kyushu. A small humanoid figure associated with mountain streams and forest interiors. The Yamawaro is distinguished from the Kappa by its habitat and by its appearance. Less aquatic, more feral, associated specifically with the interior forests of Kyushu's mountain ranges. The photographic anomaly associated with the Yamawaro is documented primarily in trail cameras installed by wildlife researchers and hunters in the Kyushu mountain interior. The cameras are motion-triggered. They photograph deer, boar, and the occasional bear. They also, in a documented minority of cases across multiple camera installations in multiple mountain locations, photograph a small humanoid figure that passes through the camera's field of view at night. The figure walks upright. It is small, estimated at under 1 meter in height in images where scale references are available. It is not a child. The gait is not human. The Ittan-momen, the one tan of cotton, is a Kagoshima Prefecture yokai, specifically a length of white cloth that moves through the air with autonomous intention, wrapping itself around the faces of travelers to suffocate them. The origin tradition places it in the rural roads of southern Kyushu, a nocturnal entity that appears as an innocuous piece of cloth before revealing its nature. The photographic anomaly associated with the Ittan-momen is distinctive and consistently reported. A white streak, cloth-like in texture when examined closely, visible in photographs taken outdoors at night in Kagoshima Prefecture and surrounding areas. The streak is not consistent with lens flare, with motion blur of fabric, or with any photographic artifact that optical analysis has been able to produce through controlled replication. The streak moves directionally in photographs where multiple frames are available for comparison. It is not random. In photographs taken in sequence, it moves from one position toward a subject in the frame. The Gashadokuro. The starving skeleton is among the most dramatic figures in Japanese yokai tradition. A giant skeleton, 15 times the height of a human, assembled from the bones of those who died of starvation or in battle without proper burial. It roams at night, biting off the heads of travelers, the rattling sound of its bones the only warning. The photographic anomaly associated with the Gashadokuro is documented in panoramic and wide-angle photographs taken at historical battlefield sites and in areas with documented histories of famine death. The anomaly takes the form of a skeletal structure visible in the background of the image, not a full figure, but a partial form, a rib cage or a hand, disproportionately large relative to the landscape around it. The anomaly has been documented at Sekigahara, at several Sengoku period battle sites in Gifu and Shiga prefectures, and in the Tohoku region in areas associated with the Tenmei famine of the 1780s. The landscapes are otherwise empty when the photographs are taken. The Oni, the horned demon of Japanese tradition, is not a subtle entity. It is massive, colorful, explicitly demonic in appearance. Red or blue skin, prominent horns, carrying an iron club. It appears in Japanese art as a terrifying figure of punishment and chaos. It does not appear to the living under ordinary circumstances. The photographic anomaly associated with the Oni is therefore the most dramatically inexplicable in this collection. See CCTV footage from Japanese convenience stores, parking structures, and public spaces showing a large figure with visible anomalous features, proportions inconsistent with any human, a posture inconsistent with any costumery, passing through the frame for a duration of between 2 and 4 seconds before exiting the camera's field of view. The footage is typically discovered after the fact during review of CCTV archives for unrelated purposes. The figure is not reported by anyone present in the space during the recording. The timestamps are consistent with the surrounding footage. The Yurei, the Japanese ghost, is the most extensively documented category of photographic anomaly in Japan and the most globally recognized. Long black hair obscuring the face, white burial kimono, the posture of someone who died violently or without resolution. The Yurei in Japanese tradition is not simply a dead person. It is a dead person held in the living world by powerful emotion, jealousy, regret, hatred, grief that the death did not resolve. What distinguishes Japanese Yurei photographic anomalies from Western ghost photography traditions is their specific consistency. Across decades of documented cases from film-era Polaroids to contemporary smartphone images, the Yurei appears in the same specific posture, with the same specific appearance. The hair, the white kimono, the position of the hands, the obscured face. The posture has not changed across 70 years of photographic documentation. It appears in hospitals, in hotels, in private homes. Always the same, always alone, always in the background. The Hon-onna. The Bone Woman is a Edo period yokai, a beautiful woman who appears fully human to a man who loves her, but who, as that love grows, gradually reveals herself as a skeleton. She is the feminine form of dangerous attachment in Japanese folklore, the love that is indistinguishable from the thing that will kill you. The photographic anomaly associated with the Hon-onna is documented in long exposure photography taken at Japanese festivals, particularly the Obon period, when the spirits of the dead are believed to return to the living world. In long exposure photographs taken during Obon festival crowds, a figure occasionally appears in the frame who, in the long exposure's blurring of movement, appears partially skeletal, the flesh visible and the bone beneath it simultaneously visible in the photographic averaging of the long exposure. The anomaly occurs in photographs taken by photographers who were not aware of any such figure in the crowd when shooting. The Jin Menju. The human-faced tree is one of the rarest and most specific entities in Japanese yokai tradition. A tree that grows human faces among its fruit and leaves, faces that laugh and smile, but that produce a fruit that, if eaten, causes death. The Jin Menju is documented in Edo period natural history texts as a real species observed in remote forest locations, presented alongside genuinely observed flora in the taxonomic framework of the period. The photographic anomaly associated with the Jin Menju is documented in forest photography from Akita, Iwate, and Yamagata prefectures. In the specific patterns of bark and shadow on old-growth trees, human facial features, eyes, nose, mouth become visible in certain light conditions, in photographs that the photographers took without observing the faces in the actual tree at the time of photography. The faces are not pareidolia in the standard sense. Multiple independent observers examining the same photographs identify the same features in the same locations. Number 1 on this list has no name in the Japanese folkloric tradition. It has never been described in any Edo period yokai catalog, in any regional ghost story collection, in any academic study of Japanese supernatural phenomena. It exists only in photographs. It has been photographed in 47 documented locations across Japan, from Hokkaido to Okinawa, in urban and rural settings, in all seasons, across 6 decades of photographic technology, from film to digital. In every photograph, it appears the same. In every photograph, it is alone. In every photograph, it is looking directly at the camera. It is not recognized as any known yokai. It does not match any described entity in the Japanese tradition. It has no name because nobody in the tradition that named everything else Japan's supernatural world contains has ever described seeing it in person. Only the camera sees it. Always the same. Always looking directly at you. This is the one that has no explanation. Not because we haven't looked. Because whatever it is, it only exists when someone is looking through a lens.